program. Uh, Dr. Brick, he was just there in November and had about 4 graduations, and I think in total they graduated over 2,000 students in the different colleges in Africa. They also have them in the Philippines and down in Mexico. We're starting 2 of these in Colombia here within the next couple of months. I'm starting another one in Puerto Rico. And so it's been designed and it's been made so that it would relieve the local church from time and effort and expenses, and then their people can get some quality training. And I just graduated a class in Texas in November. We graduated 62 students, and some of those students, I mean, they really came out of there very well equipped. Some of them have gone into ministry right now. They're right now in ministry. As a matter of fact, we hired at the local church where I am right now in San Benito, we hired 2 of the students to be part of the staff. And so those students that excel, that really learn what the material is, it's very, very advantageous for them. A few things that are important for you to know as the local pastors and the local facilitators is that the cost that Nation to Nation has put on the material for the student, we've tried to make the cost accessible to everyone. Most of the universities that do this are online Christian universities. You will find out that they charge you per credit hour, or they charge you per class, and when you add it all up, it's very costly. It's very costly per year. The cost here, and what we've agreed for the Caribbean and for the Virgin Islands and the British Islands and any of the islands here, is going to be, I believe, 85, right, Pastor Haven?
I thought it was 60.
60. Is that what we said? 60.
Yeah.
Okay. That's right. We said 60, and then each local church has their own administrative cost. That's right. I'm sorry. Yes, and that's very, very accessible. That's very affordable. In the States, in Texas, at my local church, we charge $130 to every student there. That's what they pay. They pay $130. And another Bible college I just opened in California about 3 months ago, they're paying their $140 in that local church. And so, and usually the cost, we try to work it with the local church because they know their people, they know the financial capacity of the people. So this is not a profit making business. This is a facilitating people to be able to be discipled, to be able to be trained, to be able to be equipped, to have some good biblical knowledge, a good biblical foundation, so that as they serve in ministry, they've been well prepared. That's the whole purpose behind this, and so the cost, it just barely covers administrative cost, and so it's very, very accessible. That cost that I just said, the $60 plus whatever the administrative fee is here in that you're going to have here, it's per student, per semester. Now, in the year, we have 3 semesters. It's actually 3 trimesters, but they got into the lingo of semesters when they started. The books say semesters, so we continue with that, but it really is 3 trimesters because they're 12-week periods, and there's 3 in 1 year. And so every semester, every trimester, they pay again the same $60. So when you do the semester 1, the student pays the $60, they get the workbook. If they don't pay, they get no workbook. These workbooks, I mean, I brought some with me for semester 1 and semester 2 so that you would have here, and I had to sign it, and I had to kind of be the co-signer, and they counted them and inventoried them, and so when I go back, I have to take either the book back or the check back. And so we do give one to the Bible director or the pastor of that. We give a book for that person, but everybody else, they pay the the $60 for the workbook. And so at semester 2, you get a workbook again, and then it's $60 again, and the administrative fee. At the end, when they have completed, whether they're doing the AA degree or the BA degree, then there is a cost for the graduation diploma, and because one of the deans or one of the directors will personally come to give at the commencement exercises the diploma of completion and graduation. So there is a cost for graduation. I believe the cost for the islands is going to be somewhere around $80 for the AA program and $100 for the BA program. That's at the completion. That's a one-time charge at completion time. Let me share just a couple of things that this is also important for the local directors and the local facilitators to keep track of. And we give you one of these, which is a nation-to-nation student registration form. It's made up of several pages, and we give you one or two, and then you can just print them and you give them to each student. What we prefer is that you, the local college, or you, the local church, keep one, and that then we have one for us of the registration form. This is the only thing that we would like to have, because we want to know who we have, who they are, and who we're giving a diploma to. And so we want to have that. And then, but you should have one too. So what we prefer is that the student fills one out, then you can, at your office, make a copy of it and send us for each student the student registration form. We also have the application for graduation. When graduation comes along, whether they're in the AA program or the BA program, then they fill out the application for graduation. In this application, you will see that on the second page there are all these squares. You can't see them from over there. But every one of these are each semester that student was a part of. And then there's every single class. And every single class here will have a grade. Every class will have a grade. So any student that's going to graduate, this page has to be completely filled out, and all the grades have to be in there. The passing grade is 70 and above. If they get 69, they fail the course. So what happens when somebody fails the course? You have two options. You can either, as a facilitator, as a local church, you can set up a makeup program or plan. You can say, okay, once a month we're going to have makeup classes. This is something that you decide how you want to do it. We don't tell you how to do it. We suggest to you, but you can come up with various options. And what I do with some of the local colleges back in the States is we assign one day during that month period where we're going to make makeups. And so anybody that has a makeup class because they either failed or because they weren't in attendance the night that the quizzes or the midterm or that session was done, then they come to that makeup class and they have to make it up that night. The facilitator comes in, shows them the video. Sometimes if you have 4 or 5 different people with different classes that they missed, well, you can't show all 4 or 5 videos. So what you do is you let them see. You will have, the facilitators will have a little flash unit, USB, what do they call those?
USB port.
Yeah. And the video's there, and they can plug it into their computer or you can make a duplicate of that particular class so that they can see it right there before you. Then they give it to you at the end, and you keep that. That's just one way. Another way that they can do it is they can go online. Nation to Nation has online courses. If the student has registered and we have back in the main office his name or her name as a student of Nation to Nation at the Bible College in St. Thomas, Virgin Islands, then he or she, for $10 a month, has access to any class for makeup. They will get a passcode and they can go in and make up if they're a registered paid student. If they're not a registered pay student, then they have to pay the fee that they're paying here to be able to go online. Now, the only thing about going online is that they cannot take quizzes online and they cannot take midterms or finals. Those have to be in person and they have to be presented by the local facilitator or the local dean of the local school or whoever he or she assigns. For instance, this Monday night, that was last night. Yeah. Last night, I have a BA class running right now back in Texas in one of the Bible colleges, and two of my facilitators there were absent because they had to go for their work. They had to be absent. So I had to get another person because I was absent too. I was gone. I was in Florida and I was coming here today. And so I picked somebody from the congregation. As a matter of fact, I picked a student that graduated last year. And I asked him to come and facilitate the class last night. Of course, he was a student for 4 years. He knew the program very well, and he knew how it functioned. And so what I'm saying is, you as the director, is your responsibility to whoever you want to choose. You have to know who you choose to be able to give the class, to be able to give the test, the quizzes, but that's your responsibility. And so this is very important. Many times we've had it in the past, when we come to graduation time, the student says, "Oh, I'm ready to graduate." But then when we go to his record, we find 2 or 3 classes that he or she failed, they can't graduate. And so then at the last minute, they're running to see how they can make it up. And some of them aren't able to make up, and sometimes that creates a little friction, and some people don't understand, and they think, well, they ought to just give me the grade, what's the big deal? Aren't you a pastor? I thought you were a Christian. Well, this is a school, and things are done with order, and things are done with certain protocols and certain rules. And so if the person got a 69 or a 68 or a 64, he or she failed. They got to take the class over again, and they have to take the test over again. And if they take the test and they get a 71, they pass. Just scratch out the previous grade and put 71 with the backup of the new test, and it's all done. So, but this is very important. This is something that the local dean and each facilitator in each school needs to be sure that every class is graded and that there's a record of it. Now, yes.
In the case of an emergency,
yes,
this person has to travel for death, burial, something.
Yeah.
You still use the same method in giving them the test, or you do a sympathy something?
Well, first of all, we give them the option, and you have to decide how you're going to do it.
Okay.
If you want them to only do it online,
okay,
then they have to go online, pay the $10 and look at the video, do the quiz with their workbook, and then you have to, if they miss the midterm, you have to give them the midterm.
okay,
At one time. You have to meet with them either at the church or in your office or at their home, but somebody that is part of the school, of the staff of the school, has to give that person that test, and they have to take the test. It's a good question, Pastor Eloy, and it's good to say this. Each trimester, a student is allowed 2 excused absence.
okay,
2.
okay,
Each trimester. If he has 3, it begins to affect his grade. We keep an attendance record. I was gonna talk to you about that in just a minute here. There's an attendance record that is kept every class. Every night, whatever night you all choose that you're gonna have your class. Let's say hypothetically it's a Friday night and it's at 6 o'clock. Well, you get there, the facilitator should get there early, and then at the entrance there's a table and there's the roster of all the registered students, and there is the day of that class, and that student has to come in and put his initials. He has to sign in, and that's the attendance record. Now, if a student comes in and sits down and takes the class and forgets to sign in, he's going to show us an absent. What we do is we always remind the class. We remind them all the time. You'd be surprised how people forget. And we remind them every class, did you sign in? And you'll always have 1 or 2 that'll get up and go back to sign in again because they forget. But that's very